Let's meet you, sir.
Thank you, Mary. I'm the Honorable Commissioner for Agric Delta State. My name is Chikezie.
What aspect of your upbringing prepared you for this task?
Well, first and foremost, I had a very humble beginning at a very tender age. I attended school where, at that particular time, admittance into the secondary school was by merit. You first of all write your common entrance examination, you pass, you go for interview, and you are shortlisted before you are finally admitted. And I passed through this process before I entered my secondary school, and even during my secondary school too, I was involved in leadership positions. First a class prefect, and later a school prefect. And even when I entered the university, I was also the financial secretary of the Old Bendel State Students Union, University of Lagos branch. So all this kind of prepared me for the task I am undertaking now.
That's interesting. The position you occupy seems to have been occupied by the present governor of the state. Does that place pressure on you?
Well, if you look at the population of farmers in the state and Nigeria in general, you know that definitely the Minister of Agric, who is in charge of all farmers in the state, is supposed to be under pressure. Pressure in the sense of requirements from the farmers. There is need for government to meet farmers' aspiration, and most importantly, the support for farmers is not support to the individuals alone. It is a support towards the government's drive to ensure that there is food security in the state. So basically, the Minister of Agric, most of the time we're under pressure, but we have learned over the years to work under pressure without supervision.
The percentage, the chunk or the percentage of the smart agenda of this government seems to be embedded in agriculture. How has that come forth?
Well, like you know, if you look at the smart agenda of the state government, you realize that agric is the bedrock, and that means that we must do a lot. We must prepare a very solid foundation for that agenda to be achieved, and based on that, most of our programs are geared towards actualizing the smart agenda, empowering Deltans, ensuring that we create wealth for Deltans, and ensuring that we have sustainable agric programs, not just agric programs, but sustainable agric programs.
How many parastatals are within the jurisdiction of this ministry?
We have 8 parastatals under the ministry. Agric is one of the biggest ministry in the state, and even in Nigeria. Like I said earlier, based on the fact that agric is like a second business, a second profession, or even the first profession in most homes. You can hardly come to a town where you don't have, even in the cities where you don't have majority of the residents farming. Some farm for pleasure, some farm in form of having gardens around their homes, some farm for commercial purposes, but basically majority of our people are farmers. So that makes it one of the biggest ministries, in addition to the fact that our parastatals are all over the state. We have our branches, our stations in the 25 local government headquarters.
How do you balance there is this common implication, common impression that politics and normal administration, how have you as Mr. Augustine Chikezie been able to come good on that?
First and foremost, you must realize that in order to hold a political position, you must be a politician. I agree that there are some professionals in the system, but basically you must win an election to be able to hold a position. And we were taught in the school that politics is just your own desire to control the affairs of the government. And controlling the affairs of the government means you should be able to combine your own job as a commissioner with politics, because the moment you are gone, you cannot be a commissioner. So we try to balance the two by ensuring that we do what we're expected to do as commissioners at the right time, and we equally give some time for politics too.
What is the flagship project initiative of this administration?
Well, we have the YAGEV program, Youth Entrepreneur in Agricultural program, that is under the Job Creation Office, and it's directly under His Excellency. But under the Ministry of Agri, we have 3 major programs that we can regard as our star programs. First is the oil palm development program of the state government, which nationwide is unequaled. The attempt is to ensure that we create jobs we create permanent jobs through the use of agriculture, and we discover that oil palm is one of the most lucrative crops through which you can give somebody a permanent job. So last year, that was 2016, we raised 220,000 oil palm seedlings that were planted in 2017, last year, to farmers at very subsidized rate and at very favorable conditions. The repayment terms are such that you begin to pay when the crop begin to fruit. You start paying at the end of the 5th year, which is as generous as it was when the late General Obomodia was governor of Midwest State. We have never had it since Obomodia left, and this is the only time that Deltans, this is the first time a governor in Delta State is bringing it to fruition. It has never been like that since the creation of the state. And this year again, we are raising 650,000 oil palm seedlings again to be distributed to farmers at the same rate, and at the same 9% interest rate, and the same conditions of repayment after 5 years. And a farmer, apart from that, we also have so many other support inputs that go with the oil palm seedlings. We don't just give you the seedlings. Each farmer is paid 10,000 naira for land preparation, 10,000 naira per hectare, which is the normal rate of land preparation for 1 hectare. You are giving fertilizer, you are giving wire collar, and we assist in marking the land for you, because marking spacing is also very, very important. And most importantly, we try as much as possible to let our people know that there is need for capacity building for farmers. We train farmers. Initially, farmers were not being trained, but we have our training models for our farmers, both in the oil palm and other crops. Like that of this year, before we go into distribution of oil palms, we must first of all train our farmers so that they know, one, that there is need for them to imbibe good farm management for greater yield. That is for oil palm. Then for cassava, you agree with me that cassava is, Delta State is like a home to cassava. There's virtually no home in Delta State that does not know how to cultivate cassava. But somewhere along the line, we discovered that the profitability of the farmer depends mainly on the yield from the crop. So we proposed a program, or started a program, whereby we partner with research agencies like the National Root Research Center at Omodike and other professional bodies to introduce high-yielding cassava varieties to Delta farmers. Since last year we started that, and this year we also have it in our program. This one is given to farmers free of charge. You don't pay anything. And it is only His Excellency Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa's administration that has done it in this part of the country. We don't pay anything. The aim is to ensure that we empower our cassava farmers. The conventional cassava we plant today in our local areas, the yield is about between 14 to 16 metric tons per hectare. But with the new variety that we just introduced to our farmers, you can have as much as 35-36 metric tons per hectare. So that difference is where the profitability is. That's why they say cassava farmers are poor, but they are not supposed to be poor, because the yield from their farm is actually the contributory factor to their inability to make enough revenue for themselves. So we discovered that and decided that in order to assist our farmers, there is need for us to introduce this these new cassava varieties. And how do we do it? What we normally do, what we are doing, we did it last year, and that is exactly what we are doing now, is that we group farmers according to their locations. We give them cassava stems, this new variety cassava stems, and after planting, we have our extension officers who visit them. After planting, at the time of harvesting, we monitor them properly to ensure that these stems are not sold. Okay. You give to your next door neighbor who is also a farmer, who must be registered with the Ministry of Agric. If you are not registered to the Ministry of Agric, there must be somebody that is registered with the Ministry of Agric nearest to the farmer. Then the person gets from the aim is to ensure that in no distant time the thing circulates around Delta State, and the old stem is phased out. So that's what we're doing. And most importantly, like I said earlier, we train them on best practices. We train them on farm management, especially planting space and application of insecticides and herbicides and fertilizers. We do all these things free of charge for our farmers. And in the past, these things were not done. These are aimed at ensuring that Deltans cultivate the habit of good farm management for greater yield. Then we also have our rice program. Delta is a rice producing zone, but unfortunately the coming of black gold, or what we refer to as oil, petroleum, actually denies us our place in rice production. But thank God the present administration is trying to bring that back. Last year we profiled and sponsored about 169 rice farmers. Gave them three rice mills, mini rice mills. We were able to identify major traditional rice producing areas. We went to Obio. We discovered that Obio people are good rice producers, but they had one issue. The issue was that of processing, so we had to make available to them a small rice processing mill. We did same to Agbaro, and we did same to Anishokwan. And I tell you that during this December, the rice we distributed from this ministry came from this state. And for 2018, our provision is for about 1,000 rice farmers. And the provision of about 6 additional rice mills. We discover that before you can go on a large scale, you should be able to understand the profession very well. You should start with a small scale first. And we discover that more than 80% of our farmers are small scale farmers. So if you want to support, begin with the small scale farmers. And in that of 2018, what we are doing is that apart from the fact that we are going to give them rice mills, we are going to ensure that they are in clusters we help them with the land to ensure that it will be easy for us to monitor them. So being in cluster makes it easy for us to monitor them as a group, and in that case offer our expert advice as a ministry. So for now, these are our three major star projects. The other minor projects like our conventional role, maybe some of our major functions like the provision of vaccination of dogs. Those ones are very, very minor, but they are important to the health of public health of Deltans. And we have also gone ahead to build one goat and one broken rat multiplication center at the ADP in Ogwashe, and then the booths of them. And those two are going to serve as training centers to our farmers and to our young farmers, mostly who are interested in going into agriculture. The aim is that, apart from the fact that we will also raise our own cane rats, the one you refer to as grass cutter, and goats. What we intend to do is to use the centers, training centers. And as I tell you, last year so many young, so many of our youths went there for training, and they are doing well.
These laudable projects, the access to them, like the proverbial head of the cow passing through the eye of the needle, how accessible is it to, how do you recruit? How do you get participants? How do you ensure that this message gets to the hinterlands?
First, I want the press to assist us to disseminate the information, because last year we had our advert permanently placed on the third page of Pointer for participants to register for most of our programs. There are some programs that are yet to take off, but we have laid the foundation for necessary takeoff. We also advertise for those. We have a pig development program. We advertise for it for 3 months. Our adverts were permanent on page 3 of Pointer newspaper. And we had radio announcement. I also had press interview like we are doing now with some media correspondents to ensure that Deltans key into the program. But most importantly, we make it compulsory that before the programs are for Deltans. So you must be a Deltan. Or if you are not a Deltan, but you are resident in Delta, so you are a Deltan in that case. And so what normally happens is that some people who are not resident in Delta want to participate, and will say no, that these programs are meant for those who are in Delta State. And they are open. There is no political affiliation. Nobody asks for party membership cards. Nobody asks for endorsement from any political party. What matters is your ability to go through the training process, and in some cases we set a baseline, we set a mark. Maybe you should be able to attend up to so time before you can participate in this program. Because like I told you earlier, most of our programs we don't just give you starter packs. We don't just give you the inputs without you being trained. We train you, and during the training we monitor you. The thing is to ensure that you are serious and that you understand what you are saying. So you cannot say that you have actually understood our training when you don't attend training. So first requirement is that apart from the fact that you applied the training, you must attend the training. And another prerequisite is that we may say, okay, for those that attended the training, they've scored 30%. Then the other 20% to enable you make half of the marks will be your ability to maybe practice or answer a few questions based on what we are taught.
That's it. The ministry, what is the overall goal in all of this laudable project? What do you perceive of data from all of this?
Well, what I perceive from Deltans, especially from what I'm seeing as Honorable Commissioner for Agri, is that Deltans are thinking differently. The thinking in Delta State is different from what it used to be, our youth are embracing agriculture, and the result is because of the new thinking world over that the best way to go is agriculture. And that's why I tell people that the problem we had sometime, or we're having now, over the oil sector, the economic crunch we had as a result of the fall in oil price, could be a blessing, especially to the oil producing states, because it is making government to think agriculture. It's making our people also to know that the alternatives, and that the major alternative we have is agriculture. So from the response we get from debtors, from our interaction from them, from the way people bombard this office in request of one assistance in farming or the other, it shows that our people are thinking differently. They're embracing agriculture, and it's a very laudable thing.
Outside this, do you have a mechanism, besides the normal on-training, monitoring and all of that, do you have a mechanism that ensures that those who set out to practice this thing, that they actually get hands on them and they're key into the vision for which these things were made?
Yes, we have a mechanism for monitoring them through our extension officers. First and foremost, if you are into agriculture, you must know your site, and the GPS mapping of your place must be known. And based on that, your location will not be a problem. And since we have our extension officers in all the local governments, like I said earlier, Agric is one of the ministries that has branches in all the 12 local government areas. Whatever office we have here is replicated at local government area. We have our veterinary department here. We have our local government veterinary officer. They are called area veterinary officers. We have our livestock officer here. We also have our livestock director of livestock here at the head office. Then at the local government level, they are called area livestock officers. The same thing for fisheries and so on. The aim is to ensure that in whichever area of agriculture we are in touch with you. These people, they will have database of all our farmers, the phone numbers, the addresses. So except the person doesn't want to continue with agriculture, he wants to, like some of them do in the past, you run away, you don't want to. Otherwise, what we normally do is that these people, the essence of having our extension officers is not maybe to stampede you into repaying your loan. No. First of all, the essence of having them around them is to ensure that they understand your problems. Agric is like every other business. For somebody who is a new entrant into the business, we are bound to have one or two challenges. So the essence is to have our extension officers around you, and their report will highlight mainly your challenges. And by the time we sit and look at those challenges, we now know how the area will come to help you. And that is just one of the areas we feel we can help to sustain the programs in most of the in the state.
Moving upstream, how do you interact with let's say, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, the World, UN, and all of that in facilitating most of them?
Yes, we collaborate a lot with them. There are so many programs that the state the Federal Ministry of Agri cannot do without an input from the State Ministry of Agri. Most of the time we meet with the Honorable Minister. Then from there we highlight areas we are participating and what we are not able to do. From there he knows areas of intervention. For instance, there is this CBN and Cobra program that Delta State is participating. It's a federal government program, but we are collaborating with them. We have our role to play. They also have their role to play. Statutorily, there are some requirements that there are some requirements in the program that must be met by the state government, not by the federal government. But it is a program that is being sponsored by the CBN. The same thing, the Accelerated Agricultural Development Scheme, which we just got the approval from His Excellency to participate. We collaborate with federal agencies, the National Directorate of Employment, the Director of Agric in Delta State, the CBN, and so many other relevant stakeholders. The aim is to ensure that we prepare a foundation for the programs to succeed in Delta State on behalf of the federal government.
That aside, monitoring the monitors now as the Commissioner of Agriculture, how do you monitor the monitors?
Who are the monitors that to monitor? You mean the...
You have the extension officer.
The extension officer. Of course. We have machineries in motion that assist in monitoring them. We meet every 2 weeks. They have a GM, or what we are referring to as a program manager of the ADP. Extension delivery is essentially the main function of the ADP. So what they normally do is that they meet every 2 weeks. And during those weeks, you as extension officer will turn in your report. And in your report, you are going to state the number of farmers you visited. And do not forget that you don't just put their addresses, you must put their phone numbers. So on my table here, based on your report, I can always reach out to a farmer and know whether your report is true or not. So I think the GSM has actually helped us to do effective monitoring. Okay.
That said, no ministry is an island. There must be a collaborative. Are there few ministries that you collaborate within the state that helps your work?
Yeah, there are so many ministries. I'll give example with justice. There are some documents as a ministry you cannot append your signature. You cannot go into it without legal advice from Ministry of Justice. The same thing is applicable to lands. If maybe you are looking for investors, there is need for you to collaborate with Ministry of Land. Even if you have your own investors who are supposed to invest directly in agriculture, you must get the consent of Ministry of Agric. So it is a kind of there is a kind of synergy among all the ministries. You want to build a farm hut, you must get input from housing and so on and so forth. You want to reach out to council chairman for the provision of lands or participants in a particular program, you must reach out to the Directorate of Local Government. So we collaborate a lot. We have that synergy among all the ministries. You cannot work in isolation, otherwise you can't make it.
Bringing it a little back home now, the chief coach of the state, as a person, having worked with him this far, how would you describe it?
Well, I can say that His Excellency Senator Dr. Atoifeanyi Okowa, the Executive Governor of Delta State, I knew him as far back as 1996. I can say it's one of the best things that ever happened to Delta State. He's a very humble man, very easygoing, and he gives you free access to run free hand to run your ministry. The only thing is that you must keep him abreast with happening in your ministry. He does not intervene in your running of ministry. The only thing is that you must brief him and let him know what is going on in your ministry. So I want to say that my experience with him has been very, very okay, very, very nice. And I would say that if this is the way it has been since the inception of the state, I don't think we would have been where we are now. We would have gone far above where we are.
You are definitely from which local governments now?
I'm from Maniocha South.
So charity begins at home. How have you brought most of this home? How have you tried to encourage the people of Maniocha South to key into most of these activities?
Well, we are, like I said earlier, we don't normally, what if all our selections are based on merit. Even if you are going to help somebody, we say you should have school cert. There's no way you can give it to somebody who has primary 6. So based on that, we inform our people when there's a program like this. The way we inform all other local government, that is where we inform Maniocha South. There's no particular preference or preferential preference to a particular local government. But most importantly, somewhere along the line, I discovered that some local governments, maybe because of the person occupying that particular seat, the commissioner in that ministry, some local governments tend to prefer some projects in that particular ministry. Like in Anyocha South, I discovered that they are more interested in oil palm, which is one of our major crops in Anyocha South. And in the last program we did, Anyocha South was one of the local government that got the highest number, especially from Sokwa area and the Ogwash area.
Speaking of which, now OPD, can you throw a little more light on OPD, oil palm development?
Yeah, that's exactly what I told you now, that the oil palm development program is a program of this. It has been on right from the time of the late Obomudia, but later abandoned, even in the old Midwest Bender state, maybe because of the advent of oil. But essentially, it means raising oil palm and giving it to farmers as subsidy, empowering farmers through agriculture and ensuring that their towns embrace oil palm as one of the surest way to empower them. You know, during Obomudia's time, we had so many oil palm plantations. At a time, they were abandoned. It is not that the program was there, but nobody was operating the program. So it's such that apart from giving, like I said earlier, apart from giving you the ceilings, they give you all other relevant inputs, and you begin to pay after 5 years. So it means that it is the proceeds that will come from the oil palm that we use to repay the loan. So you have not lost anything, in addition to the fact that they will be paid for land preparation. And so that is essentially the dynamics of our oil palm development program. And most importantly, as a farmer, we encourage farmers to have not less than 2 hectares. That is for 300 oil palm ceilings. If you have minimum of 300 oil palm plant trees in your plantation, I don't think the person can say that it's below the poverty line. You cannot. Definitely, you can pick your expenses and at the same time, at least take 2, if not 3 square meters a day.
As a person in the final analysis, how has this job in the past couple of years, the ministry, grown you as an administrator, as a politician, and as a person?
Actually, the job has been very, very tasking, very, very demanding. Most of the time, you have 2-3 meetings, 2-3 activities clashing at the same time. At times, there will be need for you to appeal to individuals to enable you to undertake some activities when you have some clashes like that. But most importantly, as a public officer, there are certain things we are doing that you cannot do now. And as a politician too, people see you as a leader in the political circle, and you must try as much as possible to maintain that leadership position, not necessarily by giving them money, but by the way you appear, the way you talk, and the way you handle matters. And that goes to show that from what you were before now, you must change some aspects of your life. There must be changes in the way you are doing things. And most importantly, when you have schedules that are tight, like I had in the morning of today, you should be able to manage yourself in such a way that at the end you come out clean. You don't hurt people. Because definitely at times when maybe you are supposed to have a meeting, but there's a clash between that and maybe another assignment from His Excellency, if you don't explain, the people you are supposed to meet will not know. It's left for you to now know how to approach these people